Hi everyone, GGinspire, here to inspire another day. Grateful to be with you. It's a beautiful day. It is hard to believe that we're in Southern California and it should be cold and rainy if nothing else, and it's like 85 degrees. So for all of you that are across the country that are back east or in places where it snows, I'm so sorry. But you know, this is what we actually pay for in California. So I am grateful to be with you today. This is very exciting. We've got a new year just upon us. It looks like 3 days away, and so many wonderful things are happening. You know, I've made some great contacts, you know, over this last year, and it's just continuing to really just snowball, and amazing things are happening. So I just wanted to go over a couple quick topics today. I was thinking actually about getting into business and what happens when you get into business. And a lot of times what happens when you get into business is you try to figure out how are you going to market. First of all, you have to know what your product is, but what are you marketing? How are you going to do it? How are you going to put yourself out there? And a lot of times what happens is that people will utilize some like entity within their their realm, right? It's called like warm market, right? Warm market is like your friends, your family, maybe people that you went to school with, like kind of like a natural market within your life, right? And what happens oftentimes is that not everybody wants to do that. So if you're getting into real estate, or you're selling a certain product, or you're getting into business, you're talking to people about money, what have you, it doesn't matter what business, right? Like so many of us have thought about getting into business. Most of the time people think about getting into business but never really do it because they procrastinate. You know, they want to be able to do more, but they don't know how, they don't know who to ask or what to do. And I've actually got a few business owners that just joined us live today. So I want to just talk about this warm market. It's kind of like your warm market woes, right? People think about even going on LinkedIn, putting ads in the paper, although people don't read the paper anymore, social media, just putting yourself out there in different ways. And a lot of those ways can be cold, right, as opposed to warm. So a lot of times people will tell you that the warm market doesn't work. It's really hard. People don't want to listen to you. But oftentimes the warm market does work very well, because if you were going to get into real estate, or you were going to get into a business, even if you think about it, like if you were going to start a printing business, what would you do? You'd probably let the people that you know closest to you what you were going to do, like what kind of business you were going to start. Whether or not they were going to be your client, you'd still want them to know, right? Like I know Donovan's in business, and he talks to the people that he knows about it. They all know what he does, right? At the end of the day, it's important as a business owner to make sure as many people know what you do as possible. So whether you're doing cold or warm, it doesn't matter, but people have to know, right? So I wanted to give you guys a couple of things that I've heard in 10 years in business of why people may not talk to their warm market, why they may not do this or that, right? So a lot of times people say, oh, well, I don't want to hit up my friends and family. I don't want to, you know, make them feel like I'm trying to pressure them, or I want to sell stuff to them, or anything like that. Well, they also worry about like, well, what if I don't follow through? I don't want to look bad. I don't want people to think that I'm not true to my word. Well, then be true to your word. Then follow up on what you're saying, right? Like do your research and make sure that you're doing something you really like and you're going to consistently do and be good at. And then you won't be in a position that you'll look bad, right? People are so worried about what other people think. But think about it this way. Like, let's just even look at real estate, right? People that you know that are in real estate, they let everybody know what they're doing. If you know anyone who wants to buy or sell a home, please let me know. I would love to get your referrals. You know, I have a lot of realtors in my contact list, and they send me emails all the time asking for referrals, right? I mean, there's thousands of realtors just in this area alone, right? In Southern California, there's millions in California, right? There's a lot of competition, but so they're constantly asking for referrals. And, you know, whether or not you let somebody know what you do doesn't necessarily determine that they're going to buy from you, right? So, but you do have to get the word out there and let people know, hey, I'm going to be doing this. This is what I'm going to be offering. I offer makeup, or I'm able to, you know, help you with your financial planning, or I'm able to help you with purchasing or selling a home or refinance or what have you. It's a good thing to be good at what you do, but it really doesn't matter if you're good at what you do if nobody knows it and you're not in front of anybody. So your warm market is where you kind of start, because you can almost like cut your teeth there. Like if you make mistakes, they're still going to love you and they're still going to care about you, but you need to do and be training, you know, to get better, right? So what they say is that when you're in business, one of the best ways to be in business and grow your business and be able to get better and be more profitable is to create a network, right? If you create a network for people, you know, I want to be able to teach my kids how to network now, right? Like my kids are 6 and 3. I'm an entrepreneur. I talk about entrepreneurship all the time, and they see me on the phone, but they also see me like have the free time to be able to pick them up and take them here and take them there, and you know, work my schedule around my life. Like I went live yesterday. Well, not live. I just did a quick video yesterday. We were in the park with my kids, you know, and I have the flexibility to be able to do that. Not everybody has the ability to do that, and I know when I had a job and I was working in clinic and medicine, I didn't have the ability to do that, and I knew I wasn't going to have the ability to do that. So I designed my life the way I wanted. But I want to teach my kids to network now. So I want to teach them to have a good attitude. I want to teach them to be friendly and personable and kind, right? You know, I don't like it when my kids are shy, albeit that's something that they, you know, some kids work on, and it's something that you have to get out of, because a lot of us adults are shy. We don't want to talk to people. We don't want to put ourselves out there on social media. You know, they say that, you know, what is it, like standing up in front of people and talking, like public speaking is like one of the biggest fears next to death, right? But that's a problem, because most of the time it's what people are worried about, what other people are going to think about them, right? So I didn't do these videos for a long time because I was so worried about what people think. And then I got to the point where I was like, I just don't care. They either like it or they don't, right? So, hi, Angie. So we want them to be kind to people. We want we want to encourage teamwork within our kids. Like we want them to play team sports or work in like collaborative activities, because that's what life is like, you know. In school, like I was always taught that if you cheat off of somebody else's paper, that's cheating, right? If you look at somebody else's paper, that's cheating. But in the working world, we collaborate, we work together, we work in teams, right? There is almost nothing that you do in this world that doesn't involve some type of team and doesn't involve other people, right? So we have to teach our kids to grow and get good at those skill sets to be working with other people, right? Because that's how they're going to be able to thrive and create networks that eventually will be able to help them in business or in life, right? They always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. That network makes a big difference. If you can start to teach your kids to network now and grow a huge network of people, that'll make a big difference for them in success in life. The last thing I was actually going to talk about is keeping in touch. So in this day and age, it's very difficult sometimes. I think for me, at least, I have a difficult time keeping in touch with people. Like you have, you know, even though people may see my pictures of my kids and what have you on Facebook and whatnot, when I see them in person, I want to be able to catch up with them. But a lot of times they're like, oh, well, I already know what's going on with your life. Like you run a business and you have your kids and you had your anniversary the other day and, you know, your birthday and, oh, you're 40 now and, you know, stuff like that. But we want the ability to be able to actually have some type of more human connection with them, right? So I want to be able to have a conversation. How are your kids? What's going on with them? What school are they going to? What are they having trouble with? What's going on in your work life, your spouse at home? Like, how's your family? Like, are they coming in and are they coming into town for the holidays, or, you know, any of those types of things, like where you have real conversations. You know, I talk about, like, last week we had Jeff King on our on GGinspire, and I did an interview with him. And, you know, we could have talked for hours about some of he talked about process communication model and how you can better communicate with people. We could have talked for hours about that, but we only touched on it for just a second. And it's one of the things that I love to talk about with people, because people's personalities fascinate me, and how you could say the same thing to one person and get a completely different response from, you know, 3, 4, 5 people, all different, right? Just because of the way that they process the information and what they feel like you're saying to them, right? And most of us talk the way that we want to be talked to. We don't necessarily talk the way somebody else wants to be talked to. And when we can get good at talking to somebody in the way that they want to get talked to, that's when we can actually connect. So I can talk a lot about process communication model, excuse me, and it's a great way for me to be able to communicate with other people, right? And build relationships with them. So keeping in touch. So when you're starting a new venture, you're starting to get into business and you're doing something else, you know, people will learn about what you're doing in a couple of ways. And I really hope that we've got a few people on here. I really hope that we're going to get some questions today. But when you're starting a new venture, people will learn about it in a couple of ways. One, they'll learn about it through the grapevine, which you don't want. Like, you don't want them to hear that, you know, you started a business and you're doing XYZ, and it's just kind of like happenstance that they hear from somebody else. You want them to feel special, like you made sure and made it a point to let them know what you were doing. So it's one, they'll hear about it through the grapevine, which you don't want. Two, they'll hear about it before you're ready to be able to explain it. So if you're going to real estate or you're going to new business, even financial services like I'm in, you don't need to, you're not going to be able to give somebody the details before you're prepared, right? You're not in a position you're going to be able to explain it. If somebody is pretty savvy, or even if they're not savvy, like you want to make sure that you know what the heck you're talking about and you don't want to get it wrong, because you really only have one chance to make that first impression, right? In business, in any business. The last one would be, so first they hear about it from you before you're ready, and then the last would be that they hear about it from somebody who's training you, somebody who is maybe a mentor or a leader that you're working with that can actually explain things in a better way and more articulate, and they're a lot more comfortable and they're not nervous, because when you're brand new and you're trying to talk to somebody about what you do, you're nervous and you're like trying to get the words right and you're trying to, you know, does this sound okay? And oh wait, that wasn't right. And so you're second guessing yourself. You need to be working with and partnering up with people that are maybe leaders in your field or mentors in your field that can actually guide you on how to do it better. Because when you're in business, like you only get one chance. And so, I mean, I've screwed up some serious deals just because I was like too eager, or I didn't know what to say, and I didn't like do enough research on the person that I was going to be talking to. I probably could do a whole GGinspire and all the stuff that I've screwed up over the years. But that would be pretty depressing for me. But it might be actually good for you guys to know that like, it's okay. People mess stuff up and they still can be successful in business. But I would say leverage people in your business, leverage other people that are experts in your field that may be able to get better, like make you better at what you want to do, right? To make you more successful. So I see a lot of people getting on today. We've got people getting on all over the country. Ebony, good to see you. I'm so glad. Ebony is amazing. She's an author. She's a mom. She's absolutely incredible. She's a business owner. I introduced you guys to her a couple weeks ago when we were going live. But I would love to see some questions, maybe on entrepreneurship, maybe some of the challenges that you guys have had, you know, talking to your warm market and going out and figuring out what people want to hear, what they don't want to hear, maybe some of the objections that you've gotten, right? Those would be good things to hear from today. And then I had one other topic if we have enough time. Oh, so here was one that I got earlier today. Let's look at this. How can I boost my confidence and not assume people are my people are not interested? So how can I boost my confidence and not assume my people are not interested? Well, here's the thing. If you have if you have some type of product or some type of business or something that's really viable for people, they don't know that they're not interested, right? You have to kind of figure out, who are you talking to? Who's your audience? You know, Julie, I haven't seen you in forever. So who are you talking to? What's important to them? Do they value their family? Are they like a data person? Do they like the numbers? Are they somebody who likes structure and lists and organization? Or are they just somebody who's like, you know, show me the money, like I'm action, I just like to go? Are they super spontaneous? You know, you have to know who you're dealing with first and foremost before you can figure out what your approach is going to be, right? Because people are busy. Like, think about how many things you have to do in a 24-hour period. Like how many times you look at your phone, how many times that you're with your kids, or you're doing something with your kids, they're asking you questions, you're driving, you're going somewhere, you're trying to focus, you know, you're writing work, there's all these things that your mind, all these thousands and thousands of thoughts that are going through your head on a daily basis. Most people are not thinking about you. Okay, so we have to stop worrying so much about what other people think and start remembering, what's the value that I could bring to this person, and how, like I said, based on their personality, like what flavor are they, right? So what flavor am I gonna, you know, when you go to the dentist and they ask you, like when they clean your teeth, and it's like, do you want spearmint or bubble gum or like whatever, right? So I always choose spearmint because I think it's the least shocking, and cinnamon just sounds like it would really hurt. But everybody's different, so everyone has a different one that they pick. And this is a silly example, but you guys all get it, right? So they're going to give me that flavor because that works for me. So give them the information and the flavor that works for them. Don't do it in the way that works for you, because it's not going to make a difference. Like, you have to be able to hit home with them. So if there's somebody that family is very important to them, like family time, and that unit is really important for them, then make sure that that's what you're emphasizing about why you're doing something, right? Like Simon Sinek talks about people buy why you do it. They don't buy what you do. They don't really care what you do. They want to know why you do it. So you have to share with them the why of what you're doing, and you have to make it in their flavor, something that they would that it would resonate with them, and it would make it so that it would feel more important for them. So that's one of the things that I could say. And then don't assume that they're not interested, you know, and follow up, because just because the timing isn't right today or tomorrow or even in a month or 2 months doesn't mean that they're not interested. It's what happens is that we focus too much on the fact that there wasn't a result immediately, and then we get discouraged, and then we end up not following up. So that's a problem for us, because, and it's also a problem for them, because what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing and it's good for people, then you need to take the steps to continue and follow up with them. You know, I always do this, and I was talking to Angie about it just the other day, that there's that one slide that says that, you know, when you talk to people the first time, you have this percentage, like most transactions or sales or what have you happen on like the 5th to 12th contact. And so there's always this one slide that I forget to pull up, and I'll get it for you guys, and I'll post it on Facebook and on LinkedIn. But it makes a difference, because that follow-up means that you're serious. Sometimes people just want to know if you're actually going to stick to this when you said you would, and you know, 10 years later, people are like, "Oh, you're still doing that business?" Yeah, I'm still doing that business that I left the medical field for because I wanted to have freedom in my life. Yeah, I'm still doing that business. Okay, so Charles has a question. How important is face-to-face contact with your warm market? Well, what kind of relationship do you have with them, Mike? I think that face-to-face contact is very, very important. And so you want to be able to do as much as you can to get in front of them. But if they're far away, then you're not going to be able to do that. Far away meaning like out of state, where you're not going to be able to fly to them. However, if you have, let's say, you know, you've got a lot of people that are in Florida, and you want to be able to make an impact and really show them that you're serious about this, don't you think that if you flew out to Florida and you saw multiple people within a few days, they would know that you were serious about what you were doing? So I think face-to-face is important, but you have to, like, it's very difficult to convey text message or email like emotion, right? When I have conversations by email and by text, sometimes like the emotions or like what you're trying to construe doesn't get there. The communication isn't proper, right? So it's by the phone for sure. Face-to-face, like even like video chat is really nice, because you guys can get my energy and you know what I'm saying, but there's nothing like being, you know, in front of me in my office, like face-to-face. So I think face-to-face is really important, but it's how you do it. It's like you have to be able to transfer your energy to other people in as multiple ways as possible. And that's one of the things that you're going to learn as you practice. Is it easy right off the bat? No, absolutely not. But that's why we practice and we get better. Because the whole point is, if you're going to, like, the person that you are right now isn't going to be making $1 million. So you've got to grow into that person. So you're going to have to get better at some things. And sometimes it's going to be hard, but it will improve your life if you choose to take it in that direction and work at it. So thanks, Charles. I appreciate your question. Ebony. With the 2017 coming to an end and we're going into 2018, what are some of the advice for entrepreneurs on what they should leave behind and what they should take with them moving forward? Ooh, that's a good question. You know, I saw this really cool message that came to me on Facebook, and it talked about the things that you can leave behind, right? You can leave behind disappointment. You can leave behind anger, resentment, pain. You know, you can leave behind so many things that we experience on a daily basis that happen to us, you know, betrayal, guilt. You know, I have so many things that I feel on a daily basis, and they're not all positive, but the thing is that we find a way to push past some of that negativity and move on to the thing that is making us feel better, is moving us forward. So you sometimes have to assess, like, if you're feeling down or depressed, or you didn't have good things happen this year, or even this week, or even on Christmas, like you didn't have good things happen to you, but you have to start getting more active about assessing, is this feeling, is this emotion, is what I'm thinking and feeling right now, is this helping me or hurting me? Is it going to make me move forward, or is it going to hold me back? And when you can think that way about it logically and step out of that emotion for a second, then you can move forward to what you need in 2018, which is like kindness and gratitude and blessings and happiness and joy and, profitability, and like all of these wonderful things that come to you when you open your heart and you're more grateful. Because you're not able to be, I told you guys we were just at Tony Robbins the other day, you're not able to be like angry or frustrated or put down or depressed. You're not able to do that in the same moment that you're grateful and you're thinking about the things that make you happy. So when I get frustrated, and I get frustrated all the time, trust me, it's like a daily battle that I have to work on. But Tony talked about like putting your hands on your heart and just taking a deep, deep breath and thinking to yourself all of the things that you're grateful for. And so when you're in that frustrated state, I'm getting lots of likes, I love it. When you're in that frustrated state or anger state, like those are he calls them your flavors of suffer. Like my favorite flavors of suffer are anger and frustration. So when I'm in those places, I have to stop and think and take a deep breath and close my eyes and think about my kids, and I think about how happy I am and my team and my husband and all these wonderful people that are in our lives that make it better. Right? And so those people are people that I think about, and I think about like all the wonderful things around us that make us happy. And so you have to figure out what you're grateful for in order to be able to push through and leave the bad in 2017, right? But you're going to have to, there's still going to be bad in 2018 too, right? But we have to make sure and learn how to process it better, Okay, let's see. Any other questions for me? Let's see. I had one other one. Oh, we have some great people join. I'm so excited. How do I show people that I care about how successful I really want to be? Now, this is an interesting one because when you start doing something different, a lot of times people are skeptical, or they don't believe it. Like I said, they're trying to see if you're still how long you're going to be doing this for. This is just like a fly by night kind of thing. And so you have to embody and become whatever it is that you want to be, right? So if you want to be in real estate, or you want to be in the money business, or you want to be in, you want to sell makeup, like whatever it is, like if you're going to sell makeup, like you need to be done up all the time, and you need to be looking really, really good, right? Because you're not just going out there and selling that product. Like I want to do makeup, or I want to sell makeup, whatever. Like, but you need to be making sure that when people, if you mention that to other people, that that's the business that you're in and you're talking about it, which you should be talking about it all the time, that when they look at you, they go, yeah, that makes sense. They don't think, you do makeup and you're not wearing any? That's interesting, right? So you have to make sure that you are like what you're putting out there and what you are actually doing are congruent, right? So if you walk into my office, I'm literally sitting in my office right now and I've got papers all over and I'm doing business, right? And I have clients coming in after this. But the whole point is that what I put out on social media, and Ebony actually taught me this, when I put out on social media is the same experience that you should get when you walk in my office. When I put out stuff, when I talk about my kids, like, and they're not always perfect, trust me. But when I put out stuff about my kids, like you should see that it's all congruent, right? Now, here's the question. Are you, when you're going out there and you're living your life, are you doing things like people are watching, right? I was watching Gary Vee the other day. Actually, this was a while ago. And he said, you should do things like there's always someone watching, right? Always. Because are you the kind of parent? Are you the kind of spouse? Are you the kind of friend? Are you the kind of leader? Are you the kind of mentor that does things like people are watching? Because we're in this world now where everyone's always watching, it seems like, right? So it doesn't matter how you treat others when other people are present, but when you're out doing things and nobody is watching, are you still a good person? Are you still being that good person? And that's what's going to make the difference. So those are some of the things that I want to show out there. But like, it matters what you put out there when you're trying to become more successful, but it's got to be congruent. You got to talk about what you're doing. You got to be about it, right? So if you're going to get in the money game, like you need to look like money. You need to look good. Now, don't break the bank and go crazy and buy something you can't afford and get into debt, but you got to look good. You got to at least like look good so that you feel good and you feel confident as you're getting out there. Yeah, and keep letting people know. Keep following up. Don't stop because you feel like, oh, everybody already knows. No, they need to still know, and they need to hear that you're doing well and you're successful and you're happy, right? Because you're doing this because you want to be happy. Oh my gosh, all these likes are just like going across the screen. I love it. Okay, so any other questions? Otherwise, we will adjourn. Next week, we're going to be coming to you live from Palm Springs. So that'll be a great go live. I'm excited. We're going to kind of figure out what we're going to do there, and I'll pick a great topic for you guys. So, oh, one more thing. Ebony, so what has this year taught you about yourself and business? Oh, that's good. Well, I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned that I have to be more grateful. That's number one. I've learned that for me, you can never control what happens to you and circumstance and those kinds of things. Like, we don't control what goes on around us, but what we can control and what we can get better at is how we react to it. So I have found that I don't react as well as I could all the time. And so I have to work on how I react to things better, because when you are, when you're in business, when you're dealing with people, stuff's always going to happen. And so your reaction is what's important, because I mean, if I don't know if I told you guys this, but I was in the car the other day, a couple weeks ago, and I was driving the car and I saw like the worst accident of my life. Like, and I've been driving around the city for, many years, and I've never seen an accident like this. Like, there was a couple cars over, all of a sudden I saw skids, and then literally, I don't know what happened, but there was a car that like flipped over in front of me, and we're on the freeway. This is like, they flipped over in front of me and hit the center divider, and I was in the fast lane. And so it was like slow motion. It was like almost watching it in a movie, you know what I mean? And I was on a phone call, and it was the scariest thing of my life, right? But I had like a car next to me. I had that car, and I couldn't really even look at exactly where that car was, but my reaction was to slow down and to I had to maneuver kind of around where that car might have be going, and also the car next to me, and trying to, and so my reaction time was fast. But, if I had been not paying attention, if I had been looking at my phone, if I had been reaching to the side, if I had been doing anything different, it may not have worked out that way. But the reaction is what's important. So what do you do when crisis happens, right? It's hard to know what I would do in that situation again, but the reaction is, in our lives, for me at least, that's what affects me. And so I'm working on, in 2018, I'm working on reaction. And then we talked about earlier, I was just talking to Serena about it, and the one word that I want to focus on for 2018 is consistency. So that's what I've gotten, is that consistency, because a lot of times I think that, when I go live and I talk to you guys about some of the things that I want to do, or some of the things that I recommend that you do, you already know to do them, and I already know to do them. But this is just a nice reminder, right? But it's being consistent with some of these things, and being more consistent about the important things, the things that move us forward, right? So, building the relationships with my kids, and, making sure to have date night with my husband, like, that's important. And making sure to, continue to do things as far as business goes that are profitable for you, not the other way around. So, those are some of the things that I've learned, and I could probably give you a longer list another day, but yeah, I've learned a lot about myself and the business, and I want to be able to make others better. That's one of the reasons why we've done these videos, is to go out and inspire other people to find their own greatness and their own happiness. And it's been awesome. We've had a lot of people that are, really grateful. I just ran into somebody in our building who was like, oh yeah, I was in business with her like 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And she's like, oh yeah, I just realized that you were in this building, and then I've been seeing your videos on Facebook. So like, people are watching, and you just don't really realize how much they're watching. So sounds good. I'm just so grateful to be here with you guys, and please share this message, share this, put it out. I've been getting some great response from Grant Cardone TV. And please go to Grant Cardone TV. You can see our videos through Virtuity. Some of my colleagues are on there as well. Virtuity.com. I have my own site now for Virtuity, and it's just really exciting. We are in an incredible place, and going into the new year with a ton of activity, ton of momentum. And if you want to be a part of an opportunity that actually has that kind of momentum behind it, I'm building a huge coalition of men and women that are going out to really get better and improve their lives, message me, contact me. You can contact me here on Facebook through Gillian Giorgio or GGinspire, my business page, which I'm going to be sharing everything over there. And this is an opportunity to be able to change your lives, and you never know like who may make the impact. I may not be resonating with you. You may not think that what I have to say is valuable, but somebody that would probably benefit from it. And I've had a lot of people that are reaching out to me saying like, gosh, I really wanted to think about doing a new business or a new venture or a new chapter in my life, and you really inspired me to take that next step because you were so positive about your message. So I appreciate you guys. I'm so excited, and let's have an incredible 2018. Maybe we'll go live on New Year's. I don't know. We'll see. But just really, this is going to be an amazing year, and I'm excited to share with all of you. So be inspired for a great life.